what is going to happen first is the Feast of Trumpets. And that begins September the 12th. And
which is coincidentally the same date as...
now the Feast of Trumpets, purpose of it is, if this is the one, Jesus himself said this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached to every nation, tribe, and people. Then shall the end come. So you can't say the end's coming until that has happened. So there's one thing there. They haven't taken that into consideration. Now, my dad was one that saw that revival. You think of it as that. And I'll have to get it up and make you a copy of it by a man named Tommy Hicks, way back there in the 50s, I guess, maybe earlier than that. Shown a vision, and he saw that would happen. He said the men, the way my dad saw it happen, like he'd be standing here, he'd go right up. It was all instantaneous, but that was the way he went. Wherever he was going, just translated from here to someplace to preach. And it could be right in the Soviet Union. And he said there would be a congregation already there waiting. It would have been pre-gathered, and then they'd be set right in the midst and preached to them in their own language, and then be gone before the communists could do anything to him.
Did Dad witness this fellow Hicks doing that?
No, that's the way my dad saw it happen.
Oh, I see.
And there was a man in, let's see, that minister that was here. He's from Beaumont area. One that came when we had a little banquet meeting over at the Green Oaks Inn. Where was he from? San Antonio or... anyway, this man had a vision, dream, and he said he was preaching to a congregation in Red China, a multitude of people. He said every one of them received Christ, and just then the machine gun started just mowing them down, going right across the crowd. And just as it got to him, he thought, well, this is it. And then the next instant he was in Chicago on a platform of a big church.
Just like that.
Just instantly. What he experienced in that dream was what this is going to be like. Now, there was a man, well, this man had one, but what he experienced in that dream was what my dad saw happening. Now, there was a man way back there in years back. He was down in Hotel, Texas. He had preached somewhere here in town in a church, and he went back to the hotel room and just laid down. He took his coat off and his suit, he had his suit on, he just took it off and laid it down. Laid down on the bed. He was tired and going to rest a little bit. The next thing he knew, he was preaching over in Red China, preaching to some slave labor camp people in a coal mine over in Siberia. And then when he came to, he was wringing wet with sweat, but he had his coat on. He didn't get up and put it on. And he had coal dust on his shoes. He was rather reluctant to tell that to anybody. Let's see. There's a lady missionary in China, old Mao, and his troops was after her. She was headed for Canton to, she's going to get on a ship and get out of the country because the communists was taking over. And she came to the river and the bridge was gone. She's in her Jeep, came up there and that's as far as she got. She says, Lord, get me out of here quick. The next thing, she and the Jeep were on the other side and she drove on. And the communists came up there and they couldn't get across. And tell you something else. At the time World War II broke out, there was a missionary in Tibet. And he had gone up to the temples, and those Lama priests would get mad and chase him out. They were real harsh with him. And so one day he went up there and they didn't say a word. He was giving his testimony, missionary work and so on among his people, and they didn't say a word. Finally, he said, what's the matter here? Usually you've been chasing me out, now you don't say a word. They said, we don't care. The spirits all gone to Europe. There's a war going on over there. And they've gone to help carry it on, and so they're not here, so we don't care. So what it is, the four horsemen, the horse represents human flesh, and the riders are devils. There's what the four horsemen are, is 4 world wars. World War I is the white horse. World War II, the red horse. World War III is the black horse. The black horse is riding now. He began in 1982 and he will complete it when the Ezekiel 38 and 39 wars fought in the Middle East.
Going on for about 8 years.
Yeah, but it'll be the Soviet Union to come around there. Somebody's going to do it because you read those chapters. God said, I'll put hooks in your jaws and bring you forth, just like catching a fish. I don't know if you've heard, have you heard me talking about the orders of my dad's vision?
Well, I've heard a little bit.
Okay, what happened?
Told me about it.
Back in 1937, he had gotten appendicitis, and this is the last week of August of 37, and on Thursday the neighbors came and put him in the car on some pillows across the back seat, hauled him into McAllister, Oklahoma to the hospital. He lived on a farm right out of town there, and they operated on him on Friday, and the following Monday he said, I had a premonition I was going to die. So he said, I was burning up with fever, hurting all over. So he said, I prayed that I'd be allowed to finish raising my family. So that evening, just after the 7 p.m. nurse came in, he said, I felt myself slipping out. And he said, I was there in no time. And he went to paradise. The nurse that came in, who was in charge of him, was a Christian lady, and she told him after the Lord spoke to her and said, I want you to take good care of this man, he's mine. So she stayed with him all night long. And so anyway, he came back into his body the next morning, shortly after 7 a.m. nurse come on duty. So he was gone for about 12 hours. And he's at the hospital record showed he was dead that long. And most of that time, after he got to paradise, the Lord came behind him and spoke. He turned around to look at him and went on around behind him. He said, you can't see my face this time. Your prayer was answered. You have to go back. He said, while you're here, I'll answer any questions you want to ask. So being a farmer, the first one he asked, don't it take an awful lot of work to keep this place looking this way? And he said, no, it does it automatically. It's predestinated to grow this way. But it's just like a park everywhere. The grass like a carpet. Don't have to mow it, and flowers much larger than they are on earth, flowering shrubs and trees everywhere, and just all kinds of colors. Just, I guess we can't imagine the color that they have there in the flowers. and the water in the river is just transparent. You can see the bottom, it's just clear. And he said there's birds there. And the Garden of Eden is right inside the gate on the left. Go in there, and there's 12 kind of fruit trees, each one a different color fruit. And that's the same place that was on earth back in Genesis. Back then, they could go in and out that pearly gate. That's what that eastern gate was. It's still there. It's when they go into paradise, that's the gate they go in. That same gate that was back there in Genesis.
Now, was this the first heaven that your dad visited?
Yeah.
The first heaven?
In the book of Genesis. When he created everything and had the Garden of Eden, that was a supernatural place. See, it never was over there between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. That's some of those myths that man has hawked up. But it's a supernatural place that was on earth. They could go in and out of the supernatural through that gate.
That wasn't the second heaven then, paradise.
Second heaven, yeah. And so when he talked a while about the things, the Lord just gave him the running commentary of everything he was saying all down through the vision. He was the same way, behind him, giving him a little about this and that and things as they happen. And he said over in the middle of paradise was a mountain like a shaft went clear up above the stars. Now paradise is above the North Pole, about the same height above the earth as the moon is from the earth, because he said I looked back down there and saw the earth, that same blue-green look that those pictures had when they brought them back from the moon. They took a picture of the earth and then broadcast it back to the earth. He said that's how the earth looked to him then. He looked from paradise back and saw the earth. Then he showed him those coming into paradise, and I asked him what kind of a rate or ratio, how often were they coming in. He's about 1 every 100 feet. That's back then. Somebody has said they saw them going in recently. There's a whole lot more now, a greater volume going in. And so then over out at a distance, it would have been, he was facing the east, and this had been to his left, which had been over the south, probably over the South Pole. There's a big planet out there. It was irregular in shape, like a big chunk of rock, only it was bigger than the earth. And it had holes in it like caves. It was barren, dismal, just dead out there, nothing there. Like the moon was, the guy went up there and nothing there, just a dead planet. And so there was a man standing out on a ledge from one of those caves waving his arms. He told the Lord, somebody over there wants help. The Lord said there's a lot of them come out there and ask for help. He said right along there the rich man stood and begged Lazarus to come and bring him water. He said nobody can pass from there to here nor from here to there. He said in addition to the space, that there's a line of distinction no man can pass through. And so it's a barrier that there's no crossing over there. And so he said then he just took the side out of that big chunk like a rock, and he could look inside and said it had a dull red glow throughout, and he said it was all in there just shoulder to shoulder, just a crowd, nowhere to go and nothing to do. One man, he met another one that had done something to him back on earth, so he jumped on him and bit him. And that's what it means, gnashing of teeth there. So then he said he brought him back to where he started, and he says, you have to go back. And he looked on down, and he was right at the entrance of paradise. He didn't get to go down where the holy city is there. So he was looking down in there, and said it went just far as he see is the big valley. It just went on and on, an enormous place, bigger than the earth. And so he told the Lord, let's go on down in there. He said, I like this place. He said, no, you have to go back. Then he told him to come and see. And then just that quick, he caught him up on top of that high mountain, which goes up above the stars. He said, there you look down on the stars. He took him back in time, and he saw him creating the universe. And what back when there wasn't any stars, just everything's black. All it was is heaven and then the paradise down here. And there wasn't anything else. And God walked out on the face of the deep that's out on space. That's what that means. The face of the deep is space. So he walked out on that and then began to creating the stars and the spoken word. He said they just come into being, a large ball of fire just started rolling out and go where it's supposed to orbit. And there's no telling how long he spent making stars. He just saw scenes of it. Then he came to the time he created the angels. He created Michael, his angels first, and put them in charge of the stars. The whole year, they're in charge of everything out there. They know all about it, what's going on, and they take care of it. In fact, they can cross this universe at the blinking of an eye, and they travel faster than the speed of light. So then...
Do they travel in some kind of vehicle?
No, they just go in a standing position. Then he created Gabriel, his angel second. And Gabriel is like a governor over the holy city, caretaker, and his job is to take messages, like he had a message for you, like in Daniel. See, Daniel prayed 21 days, and Gabriel brought in the message. That's what he and his angels do. Then Michael and Gabriel, their obedience to God is absolute. They don't do things on their own. They don't go vacationing or sightseeing. They just, if they're sent out to do a thing, they go do it and come back. And that's all they do. They're at God's bidding. Whatever He says do it, they go do it and then come back. Wait for the next assignment. And Lucifer is like we are, with a mind and will of his own. He can do things on his own. So he created him and his angels third. He's the angel of light. And he's made different from the other two. Now, each of those three archangels, Lucifer is an archangel. And so is Michael, and so is Gabriel. And each of the three archangels have billions of angels under them. And there is a chain of command, organization breakdown. They have a chain of command that's well organized. And they each have 12 kinds of angels under him. He first has 12 major or top angels next to him. And then each of those has hundreds of millions under them. And he didn't show him what Michael's 12 kinds do, nor what Gabriel's 12 kinds do, but he did Lucifer's. And so then, when he had made all the angels, then he commanded a line around the sun where our earth orbits. And he said, I didn't see any line there. but there's one there because God commanded it to be. Put a line around the sun. Apparently it's like a magnetic line of force. It's invisible to us, but it's there and it holds the planet in its orbit. It cannot deviate. They say if it only deviated 1 degree, it would either burn us up or freeze us. So it's that critical. That's why he did it, so it wouldn't do that. After he did that, then he would select a planet out among the stars. He said, I don't know where he'd get them. He said he'd just be one out there, and he'd give the command and shoot like a bolt of lightning from there to the orbit, begin orbiting around the sun. And so he'd go, every one of them was created like in Genesis. The first 1,000 years, each day in Genesis was 1,000 years. The first 1,000 years, he would put water on the planet, fill up the oceans. The second 1,000 years, he'd create plants, like did in this world. And the third one, he created the sea life. He said in the fourth day, this one, he brought the moon in and put it in orbit around the sun. Around the earth. He told him the reason I did that was to keep the sun from building the tide up so high it would run up on the land and destroy the land. And so the moon pulls in opposite direction, keeps the tide from building up too high on some side. There are parts of the earth now that it gets up 50 feet high.
Great Lakes, they're already experiencing that. The water's getting so high. They're at the Lake Cross in Chicago.
Well,
if it gets any higher, they're going to have some flooding.
What's the matter? The bottom is going up. That's what we're doing. It's going down here in Houston, it's going up there. And if that went down, then it'd rise up down here in Houston. If it goes down there, that's the weak point. It's bulging up there. So if it speeded that up, it could drain the Great Lakes, and all of them would be swimming down in Houston. So there are some things that has to happen before the end can come. And this is why I would consider these guys' message and not, just shove it aside and disbelieve it and consider it, but it's got to fit into the scheme of things, which I know is Bible prophecy. And what my dad saw in his vision was the things in the Bible happened. In other words, he saw the things in the book of Revelation happen. And there's something that he didn't know who built it. He said they had it, but he didn't know which nation owned it. It probably will come out of Europe. Because Europe is ahead of us now in
Space technology.
Yeah. They got a 9-mile diameter, what do you call it, a cyclotron over there now, and they're developing now. He said whoever does it will build a space platform. He called it that. It'd be a satellite. It would look like an aircraft carrier in the sky, and had a weapon on there. And one blast of that weapon burned up one city. Now, they used that in the big war, which that's the one after the Black Horse, the Pale Horse. That's the one which we in America get hurt.
Would that be Armageddon?
No. No, the Armageddon comes later. There's nothing pleasant about what is coming off in this whole world for the next 7 or 8 years. Ezekiel 38 war, now here's the way my dad saw it happen. The Soviet Union fired their missiles, and went out away and made a U-turn, went back where they came from. Bombed them with their own weapon. He said it tore them up good, that's the way he put it. And their airplanes come down there and got to the border, they were forced into a U-turn and crashed on Russian soil. They couldn't keep going where they started. Now, something is gonna turn their guidance system around. They use
something like that here not too long ago.
they use a gyroscope to do that with, and so he didn't know what happened. He just saw it take place. That's the way he saw it happen. A man, I think his name was Cole. At that time, he was the chief security officer here at Cardinal Air Force Base. And he and I were having our vans worked on the same place. And we were talking, and I was telling him what my dad saw happen in that war. And I said, I don't know if we have a device that can send a missile back where it came from or not. He smiled and said, we got it. That's all he'd say. It was announced in the evening news back in February. They never explained anything, and I've never met anybody yet, the people out there that knows what it means when they announce
Would you like a brownie?
that they've had a breakthrough on controlled hydrogen fusion.
Oh, delicious.
Hydrogen fusion. Okay, it means controlling an H-bomb to fire it like a laser. Instead of it all blowing up at one time, and all they said about it, that it will give us unlimited amounts of energy. They didn't say anymore. And the news, I don't know if anybody, the general public, understood anything about it. I knew what they was talking about. I'd kept up with that over the years, and they had 3 conditions that have to be under control at all times in order to do that. And they had been able to control 2 of them, but not the third. And so what they've done, they're now able to control all 3 conditions, and so they got it where they can fire that H-bomb without it blowing up. Just it'd be a beam of fire that'll totally evaporate what it hits. It'd be the same effect of the H-bomb going off, but they control it like that.
Like a laser?
Yep. The fusion will take place as they need it. Just beam the energy down there. So my dad said they had that on a space platform. He didn't know what it was. He said they burn up an entire city with it.
Sounded like laser, man.
So, yeah, only using the H-bomb for the energy. And he said they had it on a space platform, and he said one blast of that weapon burned up a city. And he said they used it in the big war. That's one. The Black Horse is riding now, and it'll climax in that Ezekiel chapter 38, 39 war in the Middle East. We won't get hurt in this country by any of the war activity over there, other than our troops might. But the people here, in the big war, we will be attacked from submarines around our coast, just like at high noon, they all push the button at the same time. And so they left holes in the ground where some of our big cities are. And so he said they tore up everything and destroyed transportation, destroyed communication, and the people were just left isolated. You know, like here, we can't contact somebody in another part of the country. They couldn't contact us.